political and economic themes are prominent in Medinan chapters. But these themes are present in embryonic form in Makkah also. Remember, I talked about egalitarianism and the social critique that Islam, the Quran makes of the Quraysh in Makkah. All those themes are now amplified. So there is really a continuity between Makkah and Medina. Makkah looks forward to Medina, and Medina is like a flashback to Makkah. So the two cannot be separated. Unfortunately, this continuity is not understood by some scholars, especially in the West. And Christian scholars, once again, with apologies, I'm simply stating an academic view or a position, so don't hold it against me. The people like Bishop Kenneth Cragg, great scholar of Arabic, Bishop of Jerusalem for 25 years, Bishop in Cairo, England. I have had the honor of meeting him a number of times. To this day, although he has an intimate knowledge of the Islamic sources, he has also published, not an abridgment of the Quran, but selections from the Quran called Readings from the Quran, with an 80-page long introduction. And very fine scholar. He finds it very hard to this day, he's in the 90s now, and he finds it impossible to understand why Muhammad changed his careers. He was a good person, a prophet in the city of Mecca, but when he went to Medina, he became a statesman, a politician, a warrior, a general, a military commander. Why did he do that? I think one has to say that in the back of the minds of some Christian, not all, some Christian scholars, is the notion of the prophet or messenger of God as a suffering Christ. And that is not a model that Islam holds as universally valid. Jesus is a prophet, a great prophet in Islam, no question about it. But to say that Jesus is from a mold that is radically, essentially, generically, fundamentally different from the mold of, let's say, Moses or other prophets, Joshua, who fought in wars, commanded armies, and built states. After all, why should we not regard Solomon and David? And by the way, these two are prophet kings in Islam, not simply kings, but prophet kings in Islam, David and Solomon. So for Muslims, all these individuals as prophets represent models that one may follow. So this absolute distinction between prophet who has nothing to do with society and its larger issues, and statesman who then rides a horse and goes into battle against the enemy forces and adjudicates in matters of dispute between tribes and individuals. This is not a model to which Islam holds. So because of this fundamental difference in perspective, it becomes sometimes very hard for people to understand each other. So dealing with the same facts, but the interpretation you bring to bear on those facts happens to be quite different in each case. So from a Muslim standpoint, Muhammad was a prophet in Mecca, and he was a prophet in Medina. And he was a statesman in Mecca, the way he handled the situation, and he was a statesman in Medina. The only thing is, certain of his qualities came into play more prominently in Mecca, others in Medina. Otherwise, there's no difference between Muhammad in Mecca and Muhammad in Medina. In